Well, you can go out.
Okay, we should be back now with both picture and sound.
Yeah, somebody give us a heads up if you hear us and see the stream. Steve, Bobby, Chris, somebody. Here's what happens. Somebody walks, steps on the wire. Good, thank you. Okay, give you some updates. Pedro Buena at the table. He is trailing 25-20 to Jay Cho. Hugo Patino at the table. Oh, we missed something, Marie. Hugo must have run a nice run. He's up 24-17.
Yes.
So we must have had a 5 or a 6. Sorry for the problems, folks, but okay, now I can see better. Thank you, Bobby. Once again, these are 40-point games. 40-point games. Thank you, Marie, for showing me how to reboot the broadcast.
No problem.
Okay. Nice shot by Pedro Buena. Getting back to the blurry issue, can somebody give me a type in about focus? The cameras seem focused. Nice ticky by Hugo. I think Miguel put a little bit of a scare into Hugo, who's now coming on quite strong.
He's focused.
Yes, he is.
He's very focused.
Like the 4 of them. Yeah, the crowd's picked up a little bit now. They're all intently watching. Some players, some spectators, some friends, some family. Okay, let's see how Miguel counters. Yeah, ouch it, right. Miguel slides by with nothing. Nice cheer for Pedro making a nice shot. I hope you could see most of that table. Actually, I just got an idea that maybe we can get our technical person to put one camera on that table, one on this, and I could switch back and forth.
That would be nice.
That would be nice for the next round. In the intermission, we might be able to do that. Both commentators lean in to see if the shot is good, and yes, it is. Oh, that was unusual.
Yeah,
Hugo just leans right in, very fast. And that might he might reconsider that next time.
Wow, it claps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pedro 25, Jay Cho 25. Don't count anybody out in either one of these games. You're funny. Go ahead. No? Anything?
Well, on the table with Pedro and Cho, it's 8 innings. I think Christopher asked if how many innings, but I think it's 8.
Right. It says 8, but there's a little talk about if that's accurate or not. But at the end, I'll be able to give you the official. Yeah, if it's 8 innings, you're right. It's a little bit over 3 for both players, Tim. Tony Ferrara just left the house. He's heading back your way. Miguel with some major English. Let's see if it's got enough to carry the mail. It carried the mail but spun out.
Just
Miguel and Hugo nod to
run
each
by.
other. They agree to a break. Now they're going to try and find a way out of this little maze here. Yes,
Well,
yes.
Hugo is almost leading with 10 points.
Yes.
Almost. He's at
27, 27-19 for Hugo Patino. Jay Cho and Pedro 25 each. Yeah.
Joe misses the shot.
Okay, because Miguel and Hugo are taking a break, we'll try and give you the commentary for Pedro and Jay Cho. You know, when I first got interested in billiards about 4 years ago, the people in my room on Long Island kept telling me, oh, you've got to go to Carom Cafe. Carom Cafe. That's all I kept hearing. I decided to finally go, and it was when they were having a Sang Lee Memorial Invitational Tournament. I only knew of two names, Coolermans and Blumdahl. I decided to go. I didn't want to pay to get in, so I volunteered to be a scorekeeper, which worked. And the 2 days before the tournament, the players were all flying in, and they were going and practicing, and they're in sneakers and jeans, and okay, welcome back. So, Marie, I was going to say, so I had the pleasure of going to Carom, which is about, a half hour from my house. And 2 nights before the tournament, I'm just kind of observing it all, glowing like, oh my goodness, these guys are great. And Torborn Blumdahl walks in, and the place comes to almost a complete stop, like, oh, hey, he's in the house. So I knew who he was, and the tables are all taken. So I know he wants to practice. So I'm watching to see what he does. He goes and has, at the time, the person that worked there put a new tip on his cue. And, things went about their way, and about a half hour later, the gentleman comes out with Torborn's shaft, and no billiard tables were available, so he goes to the desk as a regular customer, gets pool balls, and he goes to the other side of, from the billiard tables, and not many people kind of went over there, but I did, and he proceeds to rack the balls with the 8-ball in the middle, and with his billiard cue, he whacks the living daylights out of the rack, and proceeds to run the solids, the stripes, and the 8, 3 racks in a row. And I'm totally blown away. I introduce myself, and I ask him why he's not a professional pool player, and his response was, and I'll never forget it, he doesn't feel the challenge that he does with billiards.
No.
I thought that was like a Kodak moment for me. Well, okay, folks, enough of me. Getting back to the game. Hugo Patino at the table, leading 28-19. Drew, I don't know if you're in the room, but I want to give a big thank you to Drew Dangelmeyer for streaming the tournament at Mason's room in Malden. Hugo leans in, takes a look. No point. Yes? Oh. You're a natural in the booth, Marie. You claimed you were nervous, but I really don't think so. A ticky. What's a double the rail shot called where you come from? And Marie takes a deep breath.
But I'm not sure.
Okay. What about a lucky shot, which we call a clock, a kukuluku?
Well, a lucky shot in Denmark in Danish is called svin.
Schween.
Svin. Yeah.
SV.
SVIN.
Schween.
It's actually to translate, it's called a pig.
Pig.
A pig. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. What a pig.
What a pig.
Miguel just missing the short rail. 28-20 in the favor of Hugo Patino. Both games are rock'em sock'em, back and forth.
Yes.
Very intense. All the tournaments that I go watch, I always like watching the fans that gather around which table to see who they're, the home country fans are rooting for that player and the other country, I'll tell you, I'm watching Pedro. He seems, I don't know if flustered is the right word, but he seems very concerned at the time clock. He keeps looking. He called for a timeout just now.
Yes.
He's the one player I think definitely affected most because the other players, 50 seconds is more than enough time. But I don't know if we'll hear anything about this after the games, but I think the shot clock is the right way to go. Great game. You're right, Tim. Good games on both tables. Totally classic. And even though we've had troubles with this stream, these games will, in the future, I don't know how long, be on YouTube. The games that you're watching on the stream, and I guess that means part of the other table will be on YouTube as well. Okay, Miguel Torres.
He makes that point.
28-21. I just heard the timekeepers, they say the number 10 when there's 10 seconds left on the shot clock. I guess that's a warning of some kind.
Miguel also makes that shot. He's now got 2 in this roll.
I want to give a big thank you to also, I'm going to type in his name. I do not know his last name. I do not know if this is his last name, but Yura. Yura is the table mechanic that was here a week early, checking out the room, the lighting. He's the table mechanic that lugged these things in, put them together, leveled them each morning before play. So a big thank you, Yura. If you're a billiard player, I'm going to do a little self-promoting here. If you're a billiard player and you use Facebook, if you go to the number 3, if you go to cushion, 3 cushion, and billiard players, 3 cushion billiard players on I'm trying to type so I don't get censored. Facebook, we have close to 800 billiard. I started this, it's called a group, to try and get any billiard player worldwide to just be in the group so we get a feel for how many billiard players there are. But if you have Facebook, there's a lot of things we post on there. Bert Van Manen writes some nice articles. Play fast. How is that that game is twice as many innings? The innings on the shot clock, I do not believe are accurate, Bill, so you have to be patient with the innings. Okay, I understand your point, but I believe the innings on Hugo Patino's table are accurate, but I think they had trouble with Jay Cho's. Jay Cho's game with Pedro, they took a break, but Jay Cho's walking around the table, checking things out. Miguel Torres now has 23. Hugo 28.
And thank you, Jay, for inviting me to South Florida. I'm happy to hear that you have the Sogard tables, and I hope that you're happy with them.
And Marie, I invite you to Long Island, to the House of Lords, where we have 4 Soren Sogards. Dick Jaspers visited not too long ago, was very happy with how the tables played. Okay.
That's
Marie
good.
and I get nervous every time somebody tries to walk past us because there's a conglomerate of wires on the floor here, but if Marie will ever be in South Florida, private room, Sogard Super Royal tables. Where are you from, Winmore? Jay Winmore? South Florida. Okay, I see it. How many Sogard Super Royal tables do you have there? And Marie, I guess you'll know. A Super Royal table is top of the line, middle of the line?
It's top of the line. It's the tournament
Tournament.
table, yeah.
Table of choice for a good
Yes,
tournament.
approved for tournament, yes. It is.
Cocoa Creek, four Super Royal
4
tables.
Super Royals. Yes.
How do you like the way they play, Jay? If it's negative, don't.
Well, we want to hear.
Okay, that's
We
true.
wanna hear.
That's good business to understand the players. All right. 29-26 is the score with Pedro Buena in the lead. The main stream, Hugo 29, Miguel 23. I'm always impressed with how they beat the Kiss. When I watch videos on the internet, I hit pause and I try to think, what would I do? And more often than not, what they do isn't what what I would do. But I do learn, how to get rid of the ball, beat a Kiss, so
When
it's
you know
instructional.
the good players always has 2 or 3 ways to play the shot.
Yes, and I was told that that's the way to practice, that play them the different ways for position, safe, avoidance of kisses, things like that.
Yes.
Oh, look at this shot.
And for
Miguel's.
Mr. Three
Look at the
Cushion,
shot Miguel's trying. I don't know what
Yeah.
he's up to, but let's see what he's got. Rail, ball. Ooh, a little
the
kiss.
wide one pushes the red away. Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
for Mr. Three Cushion about the Sogard tables playing a little short, we did had some difficulties with the tables. I guess that the tables you played on is of older date, because the newer Super Royal tables, we did solve this problem. So
A lot of new tables shipped to the United States.
well, not within the last couple of years, but we had a very good period in the 1780s and also 90s. Actually, the Sogard tables was the 4th most sold carom table in the U.S.
Now, all of those, though, getting back to this question, were the ones that you said were known to play a little short?
Yes, they
So
did.
now, new tables coming in would not
Yes.
have that.
No, they don't. We did some adjustments to the tables, and we also did some new things. So
Well, that's good to know.
it's
And
all
now,
sold.
your experience at this, what is the normal usage like for the cushions, the rubber itself? Is it recommended that you change them periodically, or?
No, it depends on how they have been kept by the owner. I would
Mhm.
say the normal time
frame.
duration, yeah, of the cushions is about between 15 to 20 years. And it also depends on which kind of cushions you have. For the US market, we almost only use the clip air cushions.
Now, Clip Air is the manufacturer of the rubber that is the cushion?
Yes, it is, yes.
And that's manufactured in
France.
France.
The other one is Artemis. It's the most used in Europe, and it's a German manufactured cushion. They all have the same profile, but somehow the US market always wanted the Clip Air.
And then cloth is I think it's the Aramith Rapide. Is that also?
No, it's the cloth. Also, the cloth that I'm playing on here is the Simonis
Some-
300 Rapide.
Right, I was thinking of the balls.
Yes, this is the most used cloth, but you can also get the Gorina cloth from Spain,
Mm-hmm.
which is also tournament approved.
So if someone orders a Sogart, the cloth that they get is?
Well, you can choose.
Oh, either you can choose.
Yes,
Okay.
you can choose.
Color and
You can both
manufacturer.
choose, yes, you can choose between Simonis or Gorina, and you can choose the color.
Now Jay is typing in to the people or the owners that do have the older Sogarts. Is there something they could do to kind of correct a little bit of shortness? I love the deep breath.
Well, some things could be done. You can raise the cushions a couple of millimeters so that it would hit the ball at a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
This would solve the problem, but
So a good table mechanic would have
yes,
to.
yes, it shouldn't be done by amateurs. It should be a professional table mechanic.
Okay. Marie, I thank you for this information. We're not done, but I hope the people that can hear us are appreciating this as well. Hugo Patino, 31. Miguel Torres, 24. Pedro Buena, 33. Jay Joe, 26. Hugo looks like he's playing your basic three-railer. He's wearing a glove. I think he's the only one of the four finalists wearing a glove. Nice point. I also look at the sticks. Some of them, I don't know, the over grip or the grip or a rubber sleeve that they put on the butt.
Mm-hmm.
Some do, some don't.
Well, I guess that most of them have some kind of grip on the butt of the cue.
Yeah, as I look at these four players, I definitely see Pedro has one. Hugo is not using a grip. Can you see one on Miguel's stick there?
Miguel has one, yes.
Yes, Miguel on his new Molinari cue.
It's a burgundy rubber.
Burgundy rubber, yes.
Yeah.
Jay Cho, I can't see his stick, but the new Molinari cues, if you're interested, you can contact Ira Lee, who's the American distributor. I play with a Hanbot, but everybody's got their own preference. Okay, Jay Cho stepping to the table. Yes, he has a grip on his Tiger, also a black grip. I always recommend them.
I always thought it was a shame because they make these beautiful cues, and then you put a green or a black rubber band on it. But actually, Longoni did a transparent grip.
I've used the transparent grip, and I
Yes.
have to be honest, it was weak.
Wait,
It would, you'd have to roll it on it and roll it
Yes.
off if you want to put it in your case. But I think that's a great idea. But I also noticed now that cue makers, where the grip would go, are kind of leaving it plain or not many inlays there because they know that the players do put grips.
yes, it's true.
The clapping you hear is for Jay Cho. Who's trailing 27 to 34. Hugo misses. Miguel steps to the table. Miguel is a very calculating player. Very calculating. He told me that
He uses the diamond system.
he uses many systems, and he told me that sometimes is a deterrent because he feels like he can't turn off his mind from.
No.
He steps to the table to take the break shot. And he
Yes.
told me, man to man, that it drives him nuts sometimes that he's,
It's
has to
difficult to
think.
be creative because he always has these systems
He
in his
does.
head.
He does have a system for pretty much everything. Which, let's see. This is the system he taught me. The shot he has here. He taught me, pick a spot where you feel comfortable hitting it, and then adjust your English. If I have to go from the second to the first, that's 3, so you use 3 tip. He said, don't try to figure out where you have to hit on this rail. Figure out where you're comfortable hitting, and then adjust your English, which to me made a world of sense. Still haven't ironed out the kinks, but it's gotten me some help. Talk about the game, Richie. I'd rather talk about your golf game, Richie. No, is that it? Do I need to tell you what shots I think they're playing, or you just want the scores? I'm going to be home tomorrow, Richie, so you better be careful what you're saying here. I'm going to try and work on getting Marie-Louise Sogart to visit the room, but that's just in the talking stages at this point, but we'll see. Okay, here are the scores. Pedro Buena up. Jay Cho checking to see if the balls are frozen. People are snapping pictures. He gives Pedro the sign, go ahead. They are frozen. Again, folks, we're dealing with a monitor, a laptop, and the tables. And I make the mistake of saying something that I saw happen and you didn't see it happen yet, so I apologize for that. I have to know to look at what you guys are looking at and make my calls. Pedro's called in the president to say something about the balls. The president hears his side and goes to Jay Cho. I don't think they should use a towel that they wipe their hands on, which might have oil on it. So the red ball goes to the top. The shooter ball goes where it goes for the opening break. Okay, Hugo Patino. Yeah, the person you see with the rag and the ball is Andy Janquito, the president of the USBA. Oof, Hugo just misses. Yeah, if you think commentating is a lot of fun, folks, there's going to be a raffle. Tiger donated 2 cues. We're going to try to raffle off to bring some money in for the USBA for the tournament. Let me try and change your... At Karam Cafe in Queens, it's common to walk in and see Michael Kang, Sonny Cho, Miguel Torres, Hugo Patino, Young Go Lee. There's just a strong amount of very good players. So it's a great place to play billiards. A lot of players, a lot of tables. Directed towards the audio. Yeah, Richie, what do you want now? Direct what? I'm not going to try and predict what the players are going to do. I can give you the score. You could watch and guess for yourself. Is there audio? Yeah, testing 1, 2. There should be audio. Oh, great that they're saying this. I hear absolutely nothing.
Well, Hugo calls for a stop of time because Pedro at the other table is blocking his way, so now we're on the hold.
Previous script. Yeah, I'm doing a sound check. 1, 2. Somebody, Chris, can you hear me okay? Hugo opens up a 10-point lead, 35-25, 8-point lead for Pedro. If Pedro plays Hugo for the championship, it'll be a repeat of the, I'm going to say 2009 Nationals, where Hugo had one loss, Pedro had none, 50-point game. Hugo would have had to beat Pedro twice. The first game took 3.5 hours. Hugo wins 50-49. They take a short break. They have to play again in the wee hours of Sunday night. And Hugo again, 50-49. It was over somewhere after midnight. So Hugo, 2 long, grueling, no shot clock games, and Hugo was the national champion. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Marie, I think we are up with the audio, so somebody might have had trouble with their own computer. Okay, Miguel Torres stepping to the table. Let's see what he's got. Looks like an around the table shot to me.
Yeah, those are too.
Let's see what he does with the white ball. Ooh.
It gets cleared.
Yep, he disposed of that nicely. Good point.
1 point.
Yep. That brings Miguel to 26, down by 10. What's he got here? Let's see. I'm not sure what he's up to. Looks like he's putting some draw on there. He's trying to, oh wow, he tried a lot of reverse draw to shorten it right up. If you're looking for results, USBA.net, the home page, top left, click on the bird. I don't know how that got there, but okay, Bill. Sorry, Bill. Sorry for the. My speakers are on. I don't know the answer, Steve. The other guys in the room said it sounds fine. I'm looking at my volume. It seems fine. Both players in a little bit of a lull right now.
Well, Chuck Up wants you to talk about the shots at hand.
I don't want to talk about the shots at hand because I'm nowhere near these guys. So you have to just watch and decide for yourself. I'm not going to try and predict what kind of shots they're taking. Plus, with the delay, I might give you the answer before they even hit the ball. So.
But they would never know.
Yeah, they won't know. That's right. When I watched the streams, Marie, I used to complain about hearing an announcer say, oh, I think he's going to do this. I don't want to hear that. I'd rather hear the Phil Rizzuto commentary about what's going on and whose birthday it is and what's the traffic like on the George Washington Bridge. You'd have to be from New York to appreciate that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Also in the house, Mercedes Gonzalez, a house pro at the Raul Billiards in Florida. Mercedes is one of the higher ranked women players in the U.S. Well, let's see what Hugo's got here. He's got 37. Looks like your basic shot. Gets rid of the yellow.
He makes it.
Yep, playing for 2, Hugo Patino.
2 left.
2 left for Hugo. 1 left for Pedro at the table. You might hear some clapping coming up.
Okay, Pedro makes it.
All right, let's see Pedro's. He lifts his stick in the air. Yes.
He did it.
Yeah, so Pedro Buena moves on to the final round, which he'll be playing. As of now, it looks like Hugo Patino, which is another rematch of the two that have battled many a time. Unless Miguel Torres can come up with something.
This is probably his last shot. If he doesn't.
Could very well be.
Could be, yeah.
Mazen Shuni dispatched Jamil Israel 40, 23 in 29 innings. Oh, yeah. Okay, Miguel's looking it over. Walking the table, picks up his chalk. Requests quiet from the crowd. Usually when one game ends, there starts to be a lot of chatter around the room, but Jim wants and asks for some quiet. Oh, let's see what Miguel's got. Oh, Miguel shakes his head. That might, like Marie said, that might be his last time at the table. Hugo needs 2. Marie, before the game ends, again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to meet you. I appreciate all the information that you've given us, and it's a big thank you to you. Let's see what Hugo's got here. I already know what Hugo did, but I'm not telling you because I know you didn't see it yet. But here, okay, there it is. We could say yes, he's got it. Who was keeping score for Pedro's game, Bill? Do you want the official guy pushing the score button or the guy writing it down on paper?
Well,
Maria, it's Marie, Richie. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right, Hugo steps down. He needs 1. He's on the hill. Let's see what he gets. He puts his stick up in the air. I guess he knows it's good.
it's in the bag.
It's in the bag. Marie, I'm just gonna final score 40.
27.
How many innings was that, Marie? Oh, you have the score sheet for the J. Cho game. So 40 points, and they were right, 15 innings. 40 points in 15 innings for Pedro Buena. 30 points in 14 innings for J. Cho. So Hugo Pedro, as it should be, and as it has been many times in the past. So we'll bring you that stream. I think we're taking a lunch break. I don't know the time, but I would say it's at least a half hour before the next game begins. So, Marie, thank you again.